morning. I'm back. Thank you for joining us. We've already lit a candle to Mama Nephthys. I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for all that you are doing, helping us bust up bogus HIV. Today, everyone, I want to spend some time saying thank you to the people who have supported me along this journey. I want to share with you some of the things that are being said. These things are also on our website, consciousdoctor.com. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for bearing with me through the impromptu musical creation that I'm engaged in. It really is impromptu, and I am making it up as I go along the way. And I want to thank Mama Nephthys for sparking me to actually take action when in the present moment I receive an idea, I believe from Spirit. I want to encourage you to do that. Again, the magic is found in the present moment of awareness. Okay? Today is going to be a little difficult because I want to show you some of the faces of the people who are what I consider to be gods and goddesses on this planet, as we all are, remembering who we really are. Okay, so I'm going to read some of the quotes, things that they've said, so I won't mistake what they have said. And then I also, again, I'm holding the camera, so I'm going to show you pictures of them, and then I'll speak about how important they are to me. As you see back here, I use these boards when I go to book events or wherever I go to talk about the subject that there is no HIV. Over here, you can see Dr. Banks. This is a picture of me and Dr. Banks in Clayton County at court when Craig Lamar Davis was on trial. I got to meet her in person. I got to meet his family. I will be doing posts in the future about the black men who are imprisoned for this bogus diagnosis and the witch hunt that everybody's been on based on the miseducation that we all had received. Yesterday, in a presentation that I completed, I performed what I consider to be a forgiveness ritual, urging you all to seek forgiveness for your behavior and putting down people who receive that diagnosis, even if you have to do it to them in spirit as they are no longer here. But this is Dr. Banks. She is a Harvard Medical School graduate who has written 2 books, AIDS, Opium, Diamonds, and Empire, the Deadly Virus of International Greed, and The Slow Death of the Cancer AIDS Paradigm. Okay? I post about those a lot. Google those. Go on the site. Listen to her interview. She is dynamic. I am so happy to have her in my life. Dr. Banks, when I first met her after she interviewed on Kidi Owatu's Living in Black Radio, she told me that she had a really good friend who was trying to do in New York what I was setting out to do. She said, you need to be aware that you're in for the long haul. He got so burnt out at people not wanting to hear what he had to say that he quit doing what he was doing. What people don't know, when they tell me things like that, it fuels my fire. I have to prove that I can transcend above and beyond all limitations. That's why I'm not dead from bogus HIV. I could not see going down like that. I just couldn't do it. And I'd rather, because my penis has been cut off, I'd rather die today for a cause than live oppressed and depressed. All of those things I did for many years. It's no secret. I've been sharing with you my self-destructive behaviors that I engaged in out of despair. Okay, So here we are, the reviews and comments about the book that are also found on the site, consciousdoctor.com, that's consciousdr.com. Dr. Banks has said of me, and rightly so, in an age of darkness, there are very few who want to see the light, let alone bring the light to others. Damian Laster is one of those people. Damian has a deep instinctive understanding of the relationship between spiritual health and physical health, and his mission is sharing his insights with a planet drowning in an ocean of suffering. She's right. I believe that I'm one of the first scholars who made the connection between the chakras and their principles and how we create our own disease. I believe that the elite knew about that. And so they knew that through media, they could manipulate mass consciousness. And that is exactly what they did. And it has been 35 years of trauma, murder, destruction. And we are calling for justice. Okay, we are calling for justice and balance to be restored. Again, Mama Nephthys does guard the sacral chakra. She does. And so I am fully confident that balance will be restored when it comes to Bogus HIV. Okay, the next person I'd like to share with you is someone who was very important to me. He created the Alberta Reappraising AIDS Society in Canada. He was the first person who allowed my work to be published. He believed in me even though my perspective was quite different from everything else on his site. Mostly scientists were sharing their thoughts and feelings about HIV. And I also joined his group when I came to Facebook, Rethinking AIDS group. He's the president of that group. He welcomed me. At the time, they were rethinking AIDS, and I went in, I hate to say, but sort of slashing. I made some enemies early on there because I felt that people who join that group are looking for answers, the simple answer, the simple truth. And we had too many incredibly brilliant scholars in there, but they were spending a lot of time, in my view, discussing things that were irrelevant to saving yourself from bogus HIV, which I had already done many years before I even came to Facebook. So they did change the banner to the group, and I believe that was because of me. Nobody ever said anything to me about it, but I know. Again, I'm empathic, I'm intuitive, and I know when Mama Nephthys sends me on a mission, there will be results. So, did I show you him yet? If I hadn't yet, I'm going to do it again just to be sure. His name is David Crowe. I didn't drop the paper, did I? Okay, I guess I did. But anyway, if you Google David Crowe, you will clearly see. No, here he is. Sorry about that. There's David Crowe. That's the guy that believed in me. That's one of the leading dissenters in the world. He's been interviewed on Red Ice Radio. If you guys haven't heard of Red Ice Radio, I highly recommend that you look into it. They tackle so many important issues globally. Red Ice Radio. I want to thank them as well. I've learned a lot there. Again, how you can be bored is beyond me when there is so much information coming out in this age of technology and information. Thank you, David Crowe. David Crowe said this of me. It was short and to the point. He says, I've got papers lined up everywhere here using this one hand to manipulate. Please forgive me. Where are you, David? Anyway, he made a comment about my humor in addressing such a serious topic. And that comment is available in the book in the acknowledgments section. Okay, this man, I give such gratitude and thanks to him for founding the Office of Medical and Scientific Justice, OMSJ, Clark Baker. Clark Baker was a detective, and he saw that this was an important issue, and he became a private investigator. He eventually had a team of professionals, the OMSJ team of professionals right here. See Dr. Banks in there? These are people who were critical and fundamental to the busting up of the HIV antibody testing science. I want to thank them. I got to hear a few of them on the stand in Clayton County at the Craig Lamar Davis trial. Incidentally, we did not win that case. Craig Lamar Davis is now sitting in prison for 20 years for 2 counts. 2 women that he had sex with without telling them that he had received that diagnosis. Our team went in, and I felt brilliantly broke down the science, especially Dr. Banks. She really is an amazing woman, a representative of the divine feminine on this planet. She was gracious enough to pose with me for a picture outside. She was gracious enough to make a comment about me and my work and my book, and I'm so grateful and eternally thankful to her. Okay, so that is OMSJ and the medical expert team. This person right here is a goddess. Look at that. This is someone who lives spiritual living. I have watched her change and grow over the years at Facebook, changing her nutritional habits, changing her religious and spiritual beliefs, believing in herself, believing in truth, not being afraid, even though she was going through some serious things in her own life. Every time I see her, I give thanks and praise. In fact, she was so kind that I used it to create that board. She has said of me and my work that the book is about so much more than bogus HIV. It is a masterpiece, and I am so glad that I read it. Something to that effect. Okay, check it out. It is also on the website. This really makes me cry sometimes, several times throughout the day. This is Diplo Malathi of South Africa. She's like me. She is a true warrior. It is unfortunate that within this past year she passed away. She was not HIV positive, but her love for her people and her community, her country, and this planet was unparalleled. She has so much respect in her community. She had always said to me that she was going to have me come to South Africa and speak. And it is unfortunate that anybody who knows me knows there's going to be a different disagreement from time to time. But whatever I do or say, I'm saying it out of love because I am being prompted by Mama Nephthys. And she and I had a little spat, but I still loved her. It didn't get to the point where we blocked each other from Facebook. We were still friends, and then I received news that she had passed, and it was quite saddening. Devastating, really. But I want to thank her for all the work she did while she was alive. She made her life count. I hope that you're doing that too in your life. Like Huey Newton said, I'd rather die today for a cause. And like I always say, my penis has been cut off, feet are on my neck, and I am going to fight back. That's just my nature. Let's thank Mama Nephthys for that. My book and this information has global presence here in Bermuda. This is Damian Williams. He's an amazing man. He's a tailor. He's a Renaissance man. Everybody loves him in his community. I was in love with him on Facebook. And then I started studying more Bobby Hemmett, and I was becoming more militant. And I was trying to get Damir to see what I saw. And while he was able to appreciate a different perspective, his mindset was stayed on love. That is all that he was about. Posting about it, supporting others who were all about it. And again, I fell out with one of my good friends because I went in a different direction. Because I'm indigo type 3, we go into those darker areas to learn all about it and then to shed light. So if he ever sees this presentation, I want him to know that I love him dearly. Okay? There are many other comments on the site. I just want to quickly go through some of them. I didn't want to show faces. This topic, Bogus HIV, and I do understand on Facebook I believe that you all are reading what I am sharing and you're not sharing it to your page. Well, unfortunately, there are a lot of people who are not yet awakened and are not yet ready to be awakened to truth. And so it can cause, I understand, conflict with you in your community. So I do understand it. I don't necessarily like it because I'm about busting down walls. I'm a renegade systems buster. I am. And I suppose if you've been without your penis for 22 years, you'd probably be more like me. Or your vagina. Because that's what bogus HIV antibody testing and that diagnosis does. It stigmatizes one for life. This is what Shatisha Ingram said. She goes, Hotep, Damian Laster, Kabir, Amenra, Horakhty. I purchased the book for my father and he loved it. Thank you for your wisdom. He has been off his medications for 4 months now, and he is doing great. So nice to see you. Look forward to seeing your posts. I, Hotep. Now that was 2 years ago. When you realign your consciousness through the principles of those chakras, realizing that it is you who made yourself sick. Don't get me wrong, the idea of bogus HIV, thinking that you are a sexual contaminant, thinking that you're going to die, that does cause physical symptoms and mental and emotional illnesses. All things spring from that: substance abuse, rejection, career loss. I have not been secretive about how dramatically impacted I am by that. Okay? Thank you to him. The next one I want to read is a buddy of mine in Canada. What a man he is. Some of you probably know him because he posts incessantly, just like me, his brother God, all about vaccines, all manner of dishonesty going on the planet. I won't say his last name. He is more of a private person. His name is David. I'll say that. He says, Damian Laster is a spiritual teacher and rainbow warrior, one who reveals the universal truth, helps his fellow man, and spreads love throughout the world. He is also a gifted guide, storyteller, and my friend. He has inspired me and many others to look deep inside to our higher energies to reach our fullest potential. As part of my growth, I have needed to find self-healing. The beauty Damian emits from the heart and inner chakras has helped me on my life journey. I have found peace amidst corruption, lies, and deception of HIV/AIDS and the many other pharma and governmental traps. No mind control and or instruments of deception can imprison us. I have learned that oppression and the criminalization of HIV cannot rule over or control us. Damian has shown me and others a path to rise above it all and claim our position in the universe as truly free, healthy, and loving beings that we were meant to be. Thank you so much for that, David. David can see that I get frustrated out online sometimes, and he'll send me a private message, or he'll go and call me, and we talk for hours. He's the one that I spoke about in my Kitty interview about having gone to see that movie with Eazy-E on it. He's the one that warned me what it was going to be like. The movie that I stood up in and said, don't fall for it. You know what? I really did. I stood up in the movie and said that to the audience that was viewing the movie that day. I want to mention this guy, Melvin Nesbitt. He is an amazing watercolorist artist. He received that diagnosis. He was taking those drugs. He happened to be surfing the net and came across one of my presentations. Right there, under the presentation, he commented, and then later went and found me on Facebook. We instantly connected. He did the research on his own. He said that those drugs he made him feel like they were draining the life force out of him, because that's what they do. That's what they do. And I'm happy to say it's been maybe over a year at this point, if not more. He is back to living a normal life. He is back to doing his work. He is back to being a god on this planet. And out of the blue one day, I think I was visiting my mother that weekend. I was working on my Pharaohs, Gods, and Kings and Queens presentation, putting it together, not being able to figure out a song. You know, finding songs for those things is very a meticulous process. You can't just, again, play someone's music to promote your work. And so he sent me Pharaohs, Gods, Kings, and Queens. He said, when I first heard this, it reminded me of you. And I instantly listened to it, came to tears, put it in the presentation. And it reminds me that we are here on a mission from the stars. In that presentation, you learn all about our presence in Kemetan. Okay? Melvin Nesbitt, the watercolor, is an amazing artist. I post about him. I show his work. He hadn't complained about it, so I keep doing it. I believe in sharing the good works of our people for the world. Ow. You hear that beat, don't you? Woo. One moment. Here's someone who didn't want to even give their name. But they say, I recently finished a great book from my colleague, Damian Q. Laster, a.k.a. Kabir, Amenra, Horakhty. The book is titled There Is No HIV, and it personally challenged what I've heard about HIV. It breaks down the stereotypes about HIV, the mental emotional state linked to disease, the spiritual roles of melanated people in society, and it has the scientific evidence behind it. This book personally blew my mind, but don't just take Damian or my word for it. This book is revolutionary and has something we can all relate to. Thank you, Kabir Amenra Horakhty, for opening my mind and encouraging me to actually experience the world and myself, not just know about it. That diagnosis can take you out of life if you let it. But as you can see, another god or goddess made that comment. Okay? I want to read this one to people who have children who may be a sexual minority. This is a good friend of mine who said this. I won't say her name. Dr. Damian Laster, if I may give the highest of respect, I am overcome with emotion after listening to your video, There Is No HIV. I myself had read You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. After reading her book, it gave me a completely different outlook on disease. I write you to say that I was brought up deeply rooted in religion and became a minister. Problem: when my middle daughter was 5, my body shut down, and what I knew to be God took me on a journey and showed me different things about all three of my daughters, including the fact that the middle was homosexual. And then she laughs and says, imagine telling that to anyone at the church. Time passed. She dated in high school, but I also saw her inside rebellion and struggle. At 16, I went to her and asked, okay, so which do you desire, boy or girl? She looked at me and asked, how did you know? I say this to say that somehow I knew that if I kept her in religion, we would have brought shame, guilt, and condemnation upon her. She wouldn't have become the most beautiful, strong, lipstick lesbian she is today. I knew I had to protect that beautiful soul that lived inside her. I took my girls out of religion long ago and taught them to look at nature as their example, and each of them give honor to their God selves. My daughter is now 27, and that was a couple years ago, and guilt-free. I am so glad to hear people speak out against discrimination in any form, especially homosexuality. That seems to be a big problem in the Black community. Thanks. I'll close with this. Be mindful of those you entertain, because you know not even angels are amongst us. Thank you, angel. Okay. That's enough of that. I'm overwhelmed, even reading it today. I want to thank you all for indulging me again today, being here with me and Mama Nephthys. I'm going to go back to work. I had a couple of ideas come to mind last night. I have been suspended again from Facebook. Seems to be happening like once a month. What I am doing is placing a mirror in front of people, and because I'm still here, I'm seeking, they're asking for forgiveness for the trauma that they caused people like me. They allowed themselves to buy into a bogus diagnosis, and fear is the deadliest killer. The rejection and shame brought a speedy death to many people. I know people who died in 2 weeks of receiving that diagnosis, who were part of religious communities, very forthright families, Bible-toting type people who rejected them and shamed them, and they had an early death. So on Facebook, I did a couple of those color boards. You know, you got to say what you need to say in so many characters or words. You have to be clever about it. But I am the master activist extraordinaire. And I did a post about all those people who got married, thinking that it would save them from cheating husbands who wouldn't bring HIV home to them. I actually had someone very close to me say that to me when I was a young man, right after we got the news of bogus HIV. And that traumatized me all these years. There's a lot more to that story that I won't share here. But I did a board, and it said, you know, how do you feel? You're stuck with somebody that you married just because you believed in a false bogus diagnosis. And then I followed that one up with what I've dealt with in homophobia. And people, when we first heard about this thing, coming out and saying, that's what them faggots get for doing all those nasty things. They are getting what they deserve. And I put that on a board without any other explanation. If they're watching me on Facebook, you would think that they would see that it was in context. Maybe that's why they created those color boards, so you can't get links in there. You can't get pictures in there. You can only get your words. But anyway, they suspended me. And just like every other time they suspended me, it fuels my fire, and I go to work creating something else, something amazing, something wonderful. We are divine God beings on this planet, and I am the conscious doctor, rainbow warrior, Dr. Damian Q. Laster, Kabir, Amenra, Anpu, Ausar, Set, Horakhty, Metaphysical Science, lighting the temple of awareness. a good day. Goodbye.